Block 14 is the Beading lace block, and it is a pattern that is formed from these two specific rows here for the beading lace that are sandwiched between rows of the knit stitch. And so I'm getting ready to do row 1 of that pattern. I've got 6 rows of knitting, 2 rows of the pattern, and then 6 rows of knitting. So now we're ready to start row 1 to create that pattern. And the first half of the row, all you do is the knit stitch all over again. The last half is where you actually create the pattern. So to do the knit stitch, just a quick review, I'm inserting my needle between the front and back post, and I'm going from the front of the block to the back and pulling up the yarn. That's your basic knit stitch, and I'm doing this all the way across the green. How do you like this nice bright green? And my blocks are 36 inches, or 36 stitches, excuse me. Lord help me if it was 36 inches. It would be painful for you to watch. And, excuse me, I'm using the K needle here. Somewhere along the line of this column, I switched over to the I hook for the blocks, and it's worked out really well, even though my first column, I think I pretty much did in the H. But I needed to go at least 2 steps higher for the knit stitch because it's a denser stitch. I tried it with the J, and it didn't work. They were still too small. Okay, so I'm to the end of the green, and as I've done with all my other blocks, look at that, I saved some time for you. Using my H or I needle, I did the simple stitch for 4 stitches, and then I hit the back side of this stitch plus another little loop in the back. You'll see that on the second row. I'm not going to repeat it again. Then I put that hook on there. Now to come back, and this is the first block where we haven't just yarned over and draw through 2 to get to the end, down to 1 stitch. This time we're going to do something a little different. First I want to get rid of that last white one. So then we got totally green on here. Okay, the first thing I do is I chain 1 and draw through 2. For all the rest, I'm going to chain 1 and draw through 3. And basically I'm drawing through the chain post and 2 of the vertical bars. And I'm going to do that all the way across. Chain 1, draw through 3. Chain 1 through 3. 1 and 3. 1 and 1, 2, 3. So I think you've got the idea on that. I'm going to do this all the way across. And normally, you'll see a lot in these videos where I'm taking my left hand off the yarn, and normally I don't do that, but this little stand I've got my camera on, and it's actually my iPhone. I'm so low that it's awkward to try to spin my needle to catch the hook or catch the yarn, and so I just have found this is easier this way. Okay, my last 3. So on row 1, you just did your normal stitch going from right to left, the normal knit stitch, and then coming back. After your first loop, you chain 1, draw through 2 the first time, and then chain 1, draw through 3, all the way across till you're down to 1 stitch. Then we're going to do 1 chain 1, and this time on this row, it's the first half that's different. Then we go back to the good old draw, yarn over and draw through 2 for the second half. So for the first loop that we're bringing up, we're going to go into that first space. Then your next loop, and every one subsequently, you're going to go through this. It's the little closing loop above your V here. You see that? Okay, that little loop right there. We're going to go through there. And then we're going to go through the space. And then we're going to go through the little closing loop, the space, the closing loop. And we're going to do that all the way across. And I'm picking up, I'm trying to get this on the camera so you can see the little loop there. I'm going through and capturing that. And as you look at it, you'll see. Once I've gone through the space, it's hard to see it, but right now you can see I've gone through the little loop that's closing the V there. And then the next one will go through the space. So I'm just going to whip through the rest of these. And then, once I'm done with that, rather than actually torture you with me stitching all of that, then when I'm done, on the way back, I will just do my normal yarn over, draw through 2 all the way across. So the first row, it was knit all the way to the left, and then the special edition all the way to the right. This time it's, you're doing something intricate to the left, and then you're going to do the normal yarn over, draw through 2 to the right. Now, how did I come up with the spacing? The actual pattern, which is in Leisure Arts and Afghan Stitch Sampler, is leaflet 2501. It's not in print any longer, but you can buy a PDF download on their website. I'm not affiliated with them. I just think it's a good reference book. So you don't need it to actually do these stitches. I mean, if you want to just do it by my video, you certainly can. And I'm not actually following their pattern and making the blocks the size that they specify. I'm only using it as reference for the actual stitches themselves. But in this particular case, I'm doing 29 rows in each block, and I wanted these more or less evenly spaced out, and it actually worked out the same way as the pattern. The pattern has you do it 6 rows, 2 rows of the beading, 6 rows, 2 rows of the beading. Well, I wanted to do this 3 times, and I know I have 29 rows, and I know these beading rows take 2 rows, so that's 2, 4, 6, since I wanted to do it 3 times. So I subtract 6 from 29. That leaves me 23 knitting rows to space out, basically in 4 different sections. 1, 2, the one after this, and then the one after, oh, excuse me, my hand's not even in the camera. 1, 2, the one after this, and then the one after the 3rd row. So there's 4. So if I take 23 and divide it by 4, then I ended up with 6, 6, 6, and then my final one will be 5. And that's how to divide it up. You can do as many or as few as you want. If you only want to do one, just divide it in the middle. But this is basically the beading lace row. And you can see there are a lot of possibilities for this. I can see all kinds of patterns, not necessarily just doing it in a straight line like this. I mean, you could make a V pattern with it if you wanted, or a diamond, or whatever. So anyway, thanks for watching.